Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of JKL Media Reviews, where we are discussing The Expanse. Today's episode is season 2, episode 11, called Here There Be Dragons. I really should have said it in a pirate voice. Here
Arr.
there be dragons. It's almost Talk Like a Pirate Day, by the way. But I'm joined discussing this episode with my two lovely and talented co-hosts, Jesse. Hello, Jesse.
Hello. I'm a big
And
fan of Piff, the Magic Dragon. You might know my cousin Steve.
Steve.
I love that title, and that was a lot of fun. And this was a fun episode, and glad to be here.
Awesome. And Lou, how about you? What's up?
Ditto, I'm glad to be here as well. And I don't know any dragon jokes, though I did watch a couple of clips of Smog from The Hobbit.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't know, there's also maps involved. So I don't know if you guys are
Yeah.
fans of maps, but
Yep, maps are very cool.
okay, awesome. So today, there's quite a few things to discuss. There's some UN stuff overlapping with Bobbie. We're also going to talk about the Abagast and its mission to find out what happened on Venus. And there's also the Rossi crew and Ganymede, which are tied together. I want to get your quick thoughts, and if you could tell me which storyline is your favorite. And I'm going to talk to you first, Jesse.
Of course, Bobbie.
There you go.
I would not have said this when we first started, and I think it was Lou last week who brought up the feelings for Christian have morphed, that we've always enjoyed the actress and the character, but not sure about her actions or what side of the scale of good, bad, or whatever. But now then I'm feeling firmly, oh, Bobbie joined the good guys, which is not what I would have said earlier. I would not have necessarily put the UN as the good guys. And I still don't know if UN are good guys, but I feel like Christian and Azure are trying to be the good guy. They are
Kotiar.
trying, yeah, Cotillard. They
Mhm.
are trying to make the right decisions, and I can't wait to talk. That was my favorite storyline, though all of them were good.
Awesome. Lou, how about you?
Yeah, it's tough. I even enjoyed Alex's storyline with his no engine slingshotting around all the different moons. But I think from an emotional character point of view, yeah, I'd have to go with the Bobbie storyline because that was a big decision she made.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think that was the most interesting storyline, although none of them were boring. All of them were good. And
It's
that's,
tough. It's tough because Prax is so good in the Ganymede storyline. Like you really
yeah,
feel for that character, right?
definitely. And one of the things that we've said from the beginning is that there's no duds when it comes to like storyline, storytelling. Whereas in other shows, there are storylines that fall short in a show that's great. But I feel like this is a show that very rarely, if at all, has something that's not enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
And that is in a way that we've been saying to Lou ever since he got us into this. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because this is something I should have been watching when it was on. So yeah, I'm so glad we're talking about this. I first want to talk about Alex and his maneuvers. This is a very well used trope, the slingshot trope. And it actually comes from a real life example where Apollo 13 had to use a slingshot around the moon in order to get back to Earth. So it is not only viable, but it is something that has been used by us. We've also used it to send Voyager out, the Voyager project, and we've used it in some of our Mars probes. I love that they're basing a lot of things in the show on real life examples that we understand. In fiction, it's been used Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, Interstellar, The Martian, Armageddon. Farscape uses it, and The Next Generation and Voyager also used it. And it was even parodied in a few shows. Futurama used it when Zap Brannigan crashes the spaceship Titanic, and he only did it because he was bored. So there's a lot of examples of this trope being used over and over in fiction, but I feel like in this case, it is something that they use in order not to give us technobabble. Again, I think that is something that's done a lot on this show is they don't really give us stuff that we don't understand. I love the way he plotted things out. He sees his ring, which I guess reminds him of orbits, and he realizes he can use gravity once the ship is gonna come in, like the secret ops ship is gonna come in to piggyback on that and get in. I also enjoyed the little scene where he realizes that if he can't see the ship, then, or if the ship can't see him, then he can't see the ship, which is something that like our pets do. They hide from us by thinking that if they put their head under something and their whole body's showing. So let's talk about that. How do you feel about the show using these real life examples? And what did you think about Alex's whole deal? I love his aw shucks attitude towards it. He is just so human and he's a cowboy. Let's talk about that. I'll start with you, Lou.
Yeah, I thought it was visually, they did a great job of with the ring helping us visualize what he was thinking about. And during the whole sequences, I was thinking like, why is he acting like there's gravity? But then I assumed that maybe he was close enough to the moons that he was feeling a little bit of gravity because he was acting like he was on a roller coaster. But if he's far out enough, he's not going to feel any G's or anything like that. But I think that was just to sort of sell that aspect of what he's doing. And I like the underlying running joke that he's talking to the computer, but the computer is never talking back to him. So he's got this real relationship with the ship that we don't realize because we're not familiar with the technology. For all we know, the computer is sentient, but apparently not because when he gets to Ganymede and he mentions he says we, and then Amos says we. He says, and he
Hmm.
goes, never mind. I thought that was a nice little payoff to that whole section of the thing. So I just think they did a really good job of visualizing it for us, and they showed like all the loops, and that looked like a roller coaster. And I thought, yeah, I thought it was really well done, and it's also a great way of showing just how good of a pilot Alex is.
Yeah. One of the things that I think about is that it's not the only one-sided relationship he's had. His ex and his kid, that was apparently it's one-sided now, that he cares about them and he's using them as a motivation and they've moved on in their life. He's used to that kind of relationship. It's interesting, at least. What about you, Jesse?
I sad to say that this was to me like some of the science stuff in Project Hail Mary.
Mm.
Okay, I don't know if you really need to show your work, but okay. I liked seeing his interactions with the ship and everything, but I did not catch, maybe because I didn't hear him in a Scottish accent. Okay, Captain, what we're going to do is we're going to
That's more Russian.
yeah, so
You
yeah,
were doing Chekhov.
yes,
Hmm.
yeah, but yeah, I thought it. I think the cool thing was him showing up, right, when they weren't
Hmm.
expecting him, and their version of the cavalry. And yeah, I did like the idea. I've talked a lot lately, just in casual conversations, that I've always had horrible grammar and spelling. And so going to Copilot, which is Microsoft's AI, and putting in a message or a post, it cleans it up for me. And it now, oh, Jesse, this is such your voice. This is your typical funny. Do you want me to? I can clean this up for you. Do you want more Springsteen puns in it? Or just, it gets to know me. And so I felt that about the computer, right? Like also, and there is a personal feeling. Like I've never named a car, but I know a lot of people do. And Saturday night, we went to a local bar called Poor David's Pub to hear my wonderful friend Sarah Hickman perform. I cannot count how many times I've seen Sarah. It is easily in the hundreds. And when like every guitar she's owned is called Martha. She's always named Martha.
Also,
And so, yeah, I like the idea that because he's such a good pilot and because he had a connection, and that is to a certain degree a trope of having a pilot be connected to the ship, this emotional attachment. So that was the cool part about it.
okay, at least for you.
Yes, to me,
Yeah.
yes.
So in the 90s, I owned a Delta 88. And if anyone is familiar with the Delta 88, it is a land ship. It's huge.
Yes.
And I named her Bertha. So,
Big Bertha.
yep, exactly. And she
Nice.
served me well. I traded her for a minivan to my parents.
Okay.
I just adored that storyline.
Hmm.
He's just so likable to me. And
Yeah.
he, my husband turned to me after we watched it and he said, "So who's your favorite character?" And I said, "No, I can't answer that. But Alex is up there for me.
Yeah.
Mm,
He is
okay.
a
Okay.
he's a great character."
Cool.
Yes.
So, because we talked about Chekhov,
Yes.
I'm going to smoothly switch to the Rossi, where we actually literally had a Chekhov's gun. In this case, Prax asks Amos for a gun, and we know, oh, he's going to use it. At that point, we knew he was going to use it.
Yeah.
He ruined their mission a little bit. So I want to talk about Prax and how you think he's doing. Is he working with part of the team? Is he not really thinking everything through? I tend to think that he is just working on instinct. He saw the backpack, which is awesome, by the way. It moves. That's pretty cool, right?
Yep.
But he sees the backpack and immediately something switches in his brain and he goes a little crazy. And also Amos gets shot in the scuffle.
Why is it always me?
Exactly. Why is it always? Because he's the one that puts himself in the line of fire. It's a
Yeah.
no-brainer, right? So quickly, let's talk about Prax, and then we'll move on to the pizza party part of that storyline. Jesse, let's start with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I do get the feeling he is, to do a bad pun, almost running on empty. Like the only thing he's worried about is his daughter. He doesn't care about anything else. He has this obsession. I love him and Naomi's discussion and he says, "Would anyone have convinced you?"
Did I interject? There was a
Yeah.
big
Sure.
reveal there as well.
Yeah. That
Yes,
Naomi has had a child taken away.
yes. I think it was nicely done because we didn't know that. And then you also wonder, sometimes you lie and say the story the person needs to hear, right? That's been another trope. Was that really true? Does it
Mm.
matter or whatever? I got the feeling this was true. But yeah, I love he is the kind of father that you hope if you were missing would be that way. Julie's father absolutely was not that way, found lacking. So I liked that pressure and that search, that drive. And so yeah, I do keep thinking that there's, I don't know, are they a little trigger happy guys? It just seems like they jump in and often shoot. I won't say they shoot first and ask questions later, but they do seem to get in a fair amount. I was thinking about the ship that had supplies put
Yeah.
up a gun battle. And this, the
The
scientist,
walking somnambulist.
yeah, and the scientist is, hey, wait, and they still jump to guns. Just don't know. Sometimes a little more diplomacy might be good, but I don't think they really have a good. The Rossi doesn't have a good diplomat on their roster.
For sure.
That's where they need to draft for need, and they need to find a diplomat to back up the offensive and everything.
Yeah, but to be fair, the actual crew of the Rossi weren't the ones that pulled the trigger. They
No,
had their guns out,
yeah,
but they didn't pull the trigger. And I think they were on a mission. It was a loose mission, but Prax wasn't interested in that thing as long as he could find his daughter. But, why shoot? Because he's not practiced in anything. He's a botanist. Yeah. So, Lou, what about you? What did you think of the Chekhov's gun?
Yeah, I think Jesse makes a great point there. And maybe in our next round, I'll expand on that point a bit. But as in, from the POV of Prax, they pretty well laid it out. Like his conversation with Naomi, he said what he was feeling. And so we knew exactly where his head was at. And that carried on into the firefight. And I think what's probably more interesting, at least for me, on a second viewing like this, is how Naomi is reacting to it, because I do think it leads to her decision later on in the episode. At Jesse's point about whether she's being truthful about whether or not she had a kid or not, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna confirm or deny that
yeah.
possibility, but I do think looking at how she reacts to that or reacts to Prax and her decision lend credence to the idea that she does have a child
And
or
it
had a
also
child.
it backs up her behavior when they were on Eros, when she tries to save the little girl. She's shown several times that if she can save someone, she will, and that's a very telling behavior of trying to get atonement for not helping her child. I'm 99.99% sure that it's true, at least in my estimation. I was surprised when she decides to leave the Rossi. I don't know where that leaves us in terms of her. She takes Amos with her, and I'm I know already that they're in the show. So how is that going to tie back into the story? They're leaving to go on this other mission, and I feel like maybe they are disenchanted with what's happening with the rest of the crew. She pretty much spells it out when she goes to leave. So I'd like to know if you have any insight into that, Lou, about how that's going to tie back in. Again, no details. Are they going to have a storyline that parallels? Or are we going to see more of that as a dedicated storyline, or is that going to be resolved quickly?
That would be a spoiler, wouldn't
Okay.
it?
Yeah.
All I'll say is, based on the show's DNA to this point, I think that the answer to that is clear.
Okay. How about you, Jesse? What do you think?
I'm not sure, so I'm gonna hold.
Okay.
I'm gonna abstain from
I
voting
know
at
it's a
this point.
weird question.
Oh, I just, yeah,
I just wondered to what extent is this going to remove her from the show? And I'm guessing none because,
yeah. I would
she and
not.
Amos are
Yeah, I
they
mean,
continue.
a few years ago, longer than that now, because he died the same time Princess Diana died, so it's been a long time ago. But a guy named Mark Holtz, who is the voice of the Texas Rangers baseball team, and he had died, and his children put together a charity in his honor, and it was a very simple charity. What they did was they found families with a sick child and they gave them a night at a Texas Ranger baseball game. They got them free tickets. They gave them money for food and concessions. And the idea was, I we can't we can give you a good night.
Right.
Can't
Can't
fix
fix
very
you.
much, but we can
Yeah,
at least give you a good night. And I always thought there was a beauty to that. That they're willing. It's in because so many people, when they are struggling, and especially a family. Irma Bombeck wrote a book about that. Talk about an outdated reference, but about how especially the children, the siblings of children with cancer, it's as rough on them as well. And just a happy memory of going to the baseball game.
that's awesome.
I thought, Naomi, we're never going to be able to fix this global problem of protomatter. No matter we're putting fingers in the dikes, we're patching up, and there's just always going to be another hole in the roof there. I've been all over the place in examples. And I'm just going to try to help people. I'm just going to do one thing at a time. And I think there's such a beauty to that. There is I can change the world, but I can only change it one at a time. I was really touched by that scene. And I've shared this often with you guys, and I've shared it with Charles on my Doctor Who podcast, and obviously in Set Lessing Bruce, that the current political times really has affected my viewing point of view more than it has in the past. And I see things and hear things and feel things differently. And that just statement meant a lot to me, that I'm just going to go out and try to help. And I'm like, good for you.
Yeah. Yeah, she's going to help Melissa from the Somnambulist.
Yeah.
And again, she feels a kinship because this woman has experienced a great loss. Helping in that case, she couldn't help on Eros. She was pulled away. She, even though she saved this protomatter, where's that going to go?
Yeah.
Because now she won't have any access to it. So she's going to help on Ganymede. Mind you, Ganymede is in its last stages of life. So it's not like that's going to be a long-term thing, but what is her mission moving forwards? I find that interesting. Anything else to add, Lou?
I think the show has done a good job of laying the tracks down for her decision, as you mentioned with the Somnambulist episode. And this episode, it's just she's just seeing that this all these innocent people their lives are being destroyed by what's going on with the protomatter, and it's at a level that's above them all. And like she just as realizing once the Pandora's box is open, you just can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. And she's she's just she's just tired of ruining other people's lives, and she just, like Jesse says, she just wants to try to do what she can to make the innocent's life as comfortable or help as much as any way that she can. So I think it's really well, that part of that, this sub thread of this story arc, I think was pretty well done. I'm curious to hear your guys' reactions to how you think Holden has been acting throughout this whole story arc.
Yeah, I'll say that he's becoming a harder person. He's becoming disillusioned by all of this, which makes him a bit numb to violence and things like that. At least that's what I'm seeing. And he does say in this episode that if he can stop this from causing more havoc, then beating up an a-hole is just fine with him. And I hate to say it, but I'm in that camp. If we can get rid of a problem by, okay, this is going to sound bad, but by beating down someone, if we can, I don't, this sounds
Beating
terrible.
down
It
an
really does.
unsavory character.
Exactly. That we know 100% is unsavory. I'll say that right now. Then if we can save some heartbreak down the road, I'm I would look the other way. I'm not going to be part of the beatdown. That's for sure. I'm not that kind of person, but I'll be like, okay, whatever, go for it. So I feel like I understand why this is happening. And it's not, he's still noble in my eyes. He's doing it because he wants these things to stop happening for everyone. He's not on the side of the Belters or the UN or Mars. He just wants to stop the protomolecule. He knows this is a horrible thing, and whatever happens in the cause of that, helping to get rid of it, eradicate this danger, then if it helps, then whatever. He also says that he would have beaten the guy down himself, but Amos beat him to it. Amos says that, sorry. So yeah, I do feel like that he is hardening. And I had said a few episodes ago that I think he needed to do that in order to be effective in this case. And I still believe it. How about you, Jesse? I know
Well,
you're different. You're more of a
no,
bleeding heart than me.
no, I think there's certainly things we could talk about. One of the things, though, that a couple weeks ago I talked about, I did not feel good about our romantic couple, right?
Yeah.
And when Luke, yeah, you're right to feel that way. And I was like,
Mm,
no. Yeah, so I think this is another sign that they are on different paths and wanting different things. And yeah, I just think that's what struck to me about this is okay, is this the beginning of the end of this? Are they because they've got other stuff going on? Are we or is this, are we going to end up long game is going to be them not together, which makes me a little sad because at heart I'm a shipper and I want everyone to find their happily ever
The
after.
Hallmark movie man.
Yes,
mhm.
indeed. Thank you.
I was gonna say, I think it's very telling. Your response was based on their relationship, and my response was based on killing people or hurting people.
Yeah.
Again, I play video games, so
Yeah.
maybe I'm more in that mindset. I also watch romantic movies, though, and
Yeah.
I read books all the time.
I
Reading,
also, go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Karen, please. I was
Oh,
going to say, one of the things that has struck me, there are many reasons why I love this Sunday morning get together that we do, but it's very clear to me the difference between how I, you and I feel about things and how Lou feels about things. Like when we watched the Michael Keaton movie, right,
mm-hmm.
about the killer and the might might better is right, and this whole ends justify the means. And growing up in Canada or let's say growing up in America in a lot of ways really messes us up. And I see that differently because of Lou's perspective. And it's an enjoyable thing because it makes me get to see things a little different.
Yeah, this is the three of us. We have a safe space.
Yes.
We all, even if we don't agree, we respect each other and each
Yeah.
other's opinions. And that's one of the main joys for me in
Yeah,
talking to you guys.
absolutely.
That's why I felt like I could say what I said a few minutes
Sure.
ago.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
How about you, Lou? Did I get your thoughts
Yeah,
on
no,
that?
I was just curious for your reaction, and I'm surprised that neither one of you said that you're surprised at how he's behaving based on what we were shown since the start of the series, where he was much more of an idealist
Sure.
and able to empathize with other parties. And I think that the show did a very good job of laying the groundwork for Naomi's path. I'm not as sure that they've done as good a job with Holden's path so far because I don't understand. And even on the second watch, I'm not understanding his motivation for or his quote unquote obsession with eradicating the protomolecule. Like, why is that? Why is he so personally invested in that? I understand from an idealistic viewpoint that this is a what's the term they use? It's a when something is like a major shift, like climate can change. They call it it's a existential threat to
Sure.
humanity. So I get it from that sort of theoretical perspective, but emotionally, I don't understand why he's become so obsessed with eradicating the protomolecule. I don't know how. I'm just curious, do you two feel that the show has done a good job of explaining why he's so obsessed with it?
I do feel it's weaker than other character arcs. However, there are things that I would point to. He was getting a bond with Miller, and then Miller lost his life to it. They were on Eros, and he sacrificed his health to try and save these people, and he couldn't do it. So he's had a lot of loss over this, and I feel
That's
like,
an excellent point.
yeah, I feel like that to him, it's an entity. It's not a bunch of little things that he can't stop.
Right.
It's an entity that he is going after. Any show like where someone is hyper focused on one thing because he feels like it, if he takes it out, then his mission is solved. And I do feel like he is very laser focused on this, and he feels like it as a thing is something that he can eradicate, and that would fix all this. It's not true because it's more than an entity, but to him, that thing has caused him to hurt. And he does say in this one, if I have to beat down someone, I will. And so his whole mindset has shifted. However, he, underneath everything, is he's changed, but he's the same person in that this is like a holy war for him. It's a crusade. And it's his morality is intact.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I think they did a good show moment with when they let those two scavengers go with the wire, right? Like,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. They were not on the wrong side of history to
yeah,
him.
yeah,
And so he recognizes these guys aren't, why should I hurt them? They're not part of this. So yeah, he's honed in, even though he's part of this big picture storyline, he's honed in on it as a single entity.
yeah.
How about you, Jesse?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I wonder if sometimes, and I wonder if Holden ever is going to sit there and go, how did I get here? I don't know if you guys are this way, but I don't as much now that I'm old, but I'd be,
Older.
yeah, I'd be you're daydreaming and you're like, how did I get to this discussion? And you try to go back and link what
Yeah.
connected it from da 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 da.
I was just minding my own business.
Yeah, yeah. And you wonder if
Yeah.
maybe that he's sitting there. uh, Just a couple of years ago, I was just a guy who didn't want to be a leader, stuck in an extra, just in a looking for a good cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Right.
And now
Right.
then, how am I this now quote unquote savior of the world?
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, that's I think sometimes is that what he's thinking sometimes?
Is he being
Um,
introspective about it? Yeah.
yeah, and I think he's not because he's just moving forward and moving forward.
Yep. Yeah. He's
But
just reacting. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and right now, and he's quit thinking. And I wonder if he stopped every once in a while, he'd go, "Wait a minute, what? How the hell did I get this?"
Right. Why
Yeah.
did
Right?
I
That,
wade into this?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great point, Jesse. And what I find scary about that is that Naomi was his anchor. And now that
Yes.
she's leaving, like
Yeah.
that come to Jesus moment for him is going to be very hard to get to now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A lot to think about there for sure.
Yeah.
I understand it. I do think it came very quickly. At
Yeah.
least that's my sum up of it.
It came very quickly. Sorry.
His
Holden's obsession.
change,
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
hardening, yeah.
See, I feel like the show has done a good job of showing that, go a cliche. I worked late at the office, so I ordered myself food and justified it paying from the petty cash because, hey, I had to work late and I didn't have time to get dinner. And no one noticed. So then something else happens, and next thing you know, you've embezzled hundreds of thousands of dollars. I feel like he's done that. Okay, yeah, this is the right thing to do. Okay, this is the right thing to do. And he keeps, okay, okay. And all of a sudden it's like, holy crap, now that I, how the hell did I become the writer of self-appointed, get rid of proto-molecule everyone,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even worse, how did I become the very thing that I hated?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I feel like that he's going to have this introspection at some point and find out exactly what he's done and maybe have a comeuppance maybe for part of it. I
Or
do
pay a
feel like he
price.
pay a price, yes. He's
Yeah.
going to be our good guy. Is with the show to the end. And I hate assuming, but I'm assuming he's our good guy through the whole thing. We know that
Lots
at
of gray
some
in this
point,
show.
I know.
Yes, very much a lot of
Okay,
gray.
that's what I feel like at least.
Sure.
And
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 maybe that's
so,
why or at least why I'm expressing my discomfort with his change, because
sure,
I don't want him to become this character that he's becoming.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. I do think that he needed a little bit of this in order to be the captain of the Rossi. He
Yeah.
couldn't
yeah,
be this softy.
one of the
And
things that Penn often quotes Bob Dylan, and I just looked this lyric, because I think it's very, fearing not, I become my enemy in the instant that I preach.
Yeah.
yeah,
It is, yeah, you can find, if I'm not careful, I am actually going to become what I'm fighting,
yeah,
trying to
Yeah.
not be.
Yeah.
yeah,
I can't count the number of stories I've read where a character does not want to can't stand like their father or their mother,
Yes,
and
hmm
they're going to do everything in their power not to become that person, and yet they still do end up becoming that person because
sure.
like blood is thicker than water and you can't fight genetics and blah blah blah.
Right.
It's always
cats in the
interesting.
cradle and the silver spoon,
Yep.
little boy blue and the pan and the moon.
Oh
Yep.
man, that song
Yeah,
is so tragic.
Yeah.
yes,
But
Yeah,
true.
and then it's subverted as well with people growing up and not being who
Yeah.
they
yeah.
hate. And I do feel like he's going, okay, I hope that at some point he will temper this. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. That's how Jesse feels about it. I want to talk about the pizza party and those interesting scientists. There was some pretty dark humor there. Number one, with them having a little party there, and hey, do you guys like pizza? It was that funny thing. And then when they barricaded themselves and then they threw a grenade out, Amos was quick enough to get the grenade and throw it back in, and that released what was happening with their experiments, and it killed them, right? And all the screams we were hearing, and that it was almost comical to hear them, oh my God, the grenade. And you could hear fire going back and forth. And I don't know, I found it a little amusing that that happened to them. I'm a terrible person. But that I also liked that we got flashbacks to Strickland taking May and what we don't know what they were doing, but we do know it had to do with the protomolecule and the condition these kids had. And I have lots of questions. I'm assuming this condition is something that they can experiment with the protomolecule to maybe use it in a certain way. And so that brings me to the question of they must have invited these people on Ganymede because they had this genetic trait. Because we do know that Prax has been living there for a long time. So is it something that is genetic in his family line? Is it that way with the other? Because there were quite a few children on Ganymede with this.
Which
Or is
kind of
it
makes you
something?
wonder if did somebody introduce this into them on purpose?
Right. That
Yeah,
was, yeah. Is this
yeah.
something that happens because they're on Ganymede, or is it something that they were brought there because it's in their line? That, that it gives a lot of things to think about. So they don't have any compunction about experimenting on these kids. So I wouldn't put it past them to create this genetic anomaly in them. How far back does it go? Are they just injecting them with this medicine in order to create this environment inside of them? A lot of things that brought to mind for me. So I want to talk about, did you guys see the humor in those situations? Because I don't want to be alone, but I also want to know your opinion. And then what you think about the genetic qualities, about how you feel about the what went on in the flashbacks and things like that. I'm gonna start with Jesse if that's okay.
Yeah, this is it's heartbreaking. The little girl going, I want to go home. I want to go back to my day. Oh no, we're having an adventure. And he's manipulating this child. And I couldn't help but see this as sexual predators. I know in
Yeah.
this case it wasn't, but that's
Grooming.
what yeah, grooming
Yeah.
and feeling like it. And it also shades of Stranger Things,
Yeah.
just because
Sure.
I only in the past year or last year did I binge Stranger Things. I was late to the party and caught up everything and then got to see this final season with everyone else. And the idea of I'm going to make the world better because these children, and I'm giving them a gift. I'm giving them this ability, which is incredibly scary. So that's what this rang with me so much. And it angers me that someone would be to take the trust of a child and to use it for their own gain and not in a, hey, let's sell them sugar-coated cereals or a new game or a toy. This is truly something
Or
horrible.
cigarettes. Yeah, in real life, we've done a lot of terrible things in the name of science.
Yes.
Tuskegee Airmen, for one, MK, what is it, MK-13, just so many horrible things. So unfortunately, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Right.
And that makes it sad that we can relate with this, that we understand the kinds of
Absolutely.
things.
Yeah.
Let's go to you, Lou.
Yeah, it's especially cruel though when it's children.
Yes.
Yeah, taking the innocence like this. And again, part of the my problems with the Holden arc is just how casually he disintegrates that boy that they find in that cryogenic chamber. I
Yeah.
just found that rather callous. Like there was no struggle on his part. You think he would struggle with that decision, and to do it in front of the father, that's like double callous because it could have been, what if it had been his daughter that was in that chamber?
Yeah.
So I found that really disturbing on several levels. But we do get through the conversations with Strickland and the woman in the white outfit that they're they they were the ones that were the responsible for that experiment that Bobbie and her team encountered on Ganymede. It's closing the loop on some out, outstanding questions in that aspect. And I switching gears here, I was I the only one that found it rather convenient that whoever threw that grenade into the room didn't lock the door behind him?
Yeah, a
That
little
was kind of
bit.
like, okay, you could argue that it wasn't one of the maybe it was one of the scientists and they were nervous, blah blah blah, so they didn't think maybe that the other people would react so quickly, but I just found it a little convenient that the door wasn't locked.
Yeah, definitely.
But
I had that thought
but like you
also.
said, once it was done and the grenade went off, they did a great job with sound of painting a mental landscape in your head of what exactly is going on because there's more than just one explosion. There's something else going on as well. And
Yep.
then that final whoosh of decompression and repressurization was really well done as well. Yeah, it just it answers questions and the best tradition of storytelling, but it raises new ones at the same time. So I thought it was an incredibly effective sequence, capped off with Alex showing up and saying to Amos, "How come you always get shot?"
Yeah, another beat of humor as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Yeah, I do love that even in dark scenes, there's some humor. The show gives a little bit of everything. It's
yeah.
not
It's
just a
organic humor too. It's
exactly
not kludged in, and that's
right.
always to me is always the best kind of humor.
Yeah, Amos does get shot.
Yeah,
Um, Bringing that up is not manufactured. It's the real thing. They were just casually eating in there, and I think that's a thing that they would do. One of the things that I thought of is where's Strickland? He wasn't there in that room. So what's going on with him?
and where's all the other
Uh,
kids?
exactly, because they weren't in that other room, but I do think there were experiments happening in the other room. I'm assuming that's what happened, that it released the experiments and they were attacked by them. Am I on the right track there?
Yep.
Okay.
We saw one of the experiments at the end of the
Right.
episode. So,
Right. But I put that together.
yep, yep,
Um, okay. And I guess her name is what? Umea.
mm,
She's done for. So
yep,
we saw her die at the end, which is cool. Another comeuppance there. We know she's evil
yes,
from what's
absolutely.
happening.
Yeah.
And Strickland as well. We still have more to go with him. I'm hoping that May is still alive and maybe some of the other children. I am a little surprised that Naomi doesn't stay because that would be saving children, but I do think that she's disillusioned there. Her child was taken away and she couldn't do anything about it. She does say to Prax several times she might not be alive. And what she's saying is she's probably not alive. So I think she thinks of that as a lost cause, maybe.
And I think she just doesn't want to relive that experience. Like she
Sure,
doesn't want to see Prax find out what's happened to her child because
sure.
she doesn't think it's
Yeah.
going to be a good ending.
Yeah, that makes sense too. Yeah. She doesn't want to experience that trauma secondhand.
Oh, yeah.
And she's already done that on Arrows, trying to save that little girl and not being able to. And she knows what it feels like to
Yeah.
experience that trauma over again.
Yeah.
So she's removing herself from that. She's going to go with Melissa. I dig that she and Melissa are going to team up. She was a character that I thought was scrappy and doing the right thing and all that. Maybe this is the catalyst that brings Drummer back into the story. I don't know. Just a thought. Quickly, let's talk about the Arbogast. Whenever someone says something to the effect of, watch this, it's not going to go well. And we have, I'm sorry, what's his name? Iturbi doing that. Hey, let's try this. And the captain going, you're courting danger here. And him being lackadaisical about it, it makes me worried. I'm hoping that they're counterbalancing each other because I really do want to find out what's happening down there. He does send a report back to Christian, which is cool. So let's talk about Iturbi and Janice and the Arbogast. Let's go with you, Lou.
Yeah, I just think this is more of a seed planting portion of the episode. The main takeaway from here is that there is proto-molecule on the surface of Venus. And,
Yep.
you know, in keeping with the episode's title, it might not be such a good thing to poke around
Right.
there.
Yeah. Here there be dragons, definitely. Yeah, he even says that to him. And we see that discordance between the two when Iturbi doesn't understand the reference until it's explained to him.
Which I found a little
And
bit surprising because he's an
me
educated
too.
guy. Like you think
Me
he would,
too.
but I just think they were playing that for the audience.
Right.
Yeah.
To let us know that they're different people. They have different mindsets. Let's go to you, Jesse, because I do think this is just a kind of watch this space kind of thing, right?
Yeah, so this is gonna share my vulnerability here, right? Venus is where Jane and them crashed, right?
Yes.
Correct.
So we know that there's protomolecule there because I think they're the this Julie creature has enough that it can protect themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the big question is why is it surviving on Venus?
And I
Why
think
didn't it burn
it's
up in the atmosphere?
yeah, and
Hmm.
I think because this is more powerful than we think. And it is whatever is down there doesn't want you messing with it. And they're not getting the hint. This time the probe's going to be enough. And I do think the idea of, okay, let's take the shielding and everything is at least a halfway decent idea. But I think that's what you do on number 3 or 4, not number the last.
Yeah,
Yeah, I am
It's
curious.
that, hey, the
Yeah,
countdown stops at 1 second. It's
yeah,
that thing,
yeah,
right? It's
yeah,
a
exactly.
convenience.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm curious and I realize we're binging this. We are going to have to take a couple of weeks off. I don't know if Lou and Karen will end up recording solo episodes or not, so this will be a
No.
couple of weeks.
No, no.
It is hard. You have to watch knowing, oh, we're about to hit the end of a season. So therefore, they're going to have something will resolve, cliffhanger, change. And so I wonder where that's going to go. So that's when I keep watching Venus as in, hey, is this going to mean a reveal for us to set us up for season 3?
Yeah, yeah, that's a great point. I do get this feeling that Iturbi doesn't know what he's messing with,
No.
and that's setting up a dooming
I can't wait
feeling
for
for
you two
me at
guys to
least.
see it.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
You're on the right track for sure.
Okay, cool. There's certain phrases that are said and you realize they're telegraphing something for you. And it's
Yeah.
that kind of, watch this, mom. No hands.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. And you know that the kid's going to fall off the bike. With that, I do feel like that's pretty much it that we see in this episode with them, that it's setting up whatever's going to happen to the Arbogast. And they wouldn't have put that, the Arbogast in itself is a Chekhov's gun. They wouldn't have put that storyline in if it didn't come back to haunt us at the end of the season. So we'll see where that goes. I want to talk about definitely the UN here. I know we're having a long episode, but there was a lot of stuff in this episode. So I want to talk about Bobbie first, and then we'll talk about Christian. Bobbie is a smart cookie. I think that in her DNA, she's a strategist, and first and foremost, a soldier, but secondly, a strategist. And then somewhere in there, also her morality is fixed. And I love that she comes up with this plan once, what's his name? Draper. No, she's Draper. What's the
Martins.
dude's name? Martins. Thank you.
Yeah.
Once Martin says, now you can watch out the window and taunting her essentially and telling her you're not a soldier anymore. Hey, I have the story from your dad, and he relays it in a way that Bobbie realizes that this guy isn't really a close family friend. He's just like a surface friend. So she realizes that if she doesn't do something, that her life is in danger. Mars doesn't have any use for her anymore. That this was her thing to come here and testify and be part of the distraction that Mars is using. I feel like there's a lot of implications here that we get that we didn't have before. Mars knows a lot about the protomolecule, at least the government, and they're in a bidding war to purchase the technology. And you know who they're in it with? I'm assuming maybe Earth, maybe the Belters, someone in the Belters. Who else is in that bidding war? That's going to be interesting to see as well. But she gets that information from she has figured a way to disable him. I think it's great that she doesn't fall into the trap of picking up the device that he has gestured to and loosening her hold. She makes sure she's got a good hold on the dude's neck while she looks over the video that's on the device. And then she knocks him out. She calls the guard in and knocks him out. And then she realizes at that point that she needs to rely on Christian, who has already expressed an interest in talking to her further. And in order to do that, she has to request asylum. Mars has betrayed her. So maybe the UN will help. I dug her plan, whether it was by the seat of her pants or not. I do think she had some of this formed in her head, but also she's great at thinking on her feet. And the fact that she has this information and now the UN has the information. Let's discuss Bobbie real quick as you guys want to go on it. And then I want to pivot to Christian, which is a subset of this story. Let's start with you, Jesse.
So Aaron Sorkin wrote the phrase in A Few Good Men, unit, corpse, God, country. It's actually, I think it's God, core, country, but Aaron wrote this and it's become an unofficial office motto. And the unit comes before the core, and then God, and then country. They're asking Bobbie to betray that unit over the last in the hierarchy. And
And maybe
that,
even God, right?
yeah. And so it is, it is that so she's never going to do this. And I think him telling that story that your father was so proud of you because the way you did that. And she went back and then he mocks her, go back and stare at the ocean. And
Mm-hmm.
it hits her like, one, this guy didn't know my dad because he just heard the same old propaganda my dad did. That's not a happy memory. And what am I trying to live up to? And is Mars, is this version of Mars what my friends gave their life for? And is this what I've dedicated my life to? So I knew when she escaped, get to the embassy, get to the embassy, get to the embassy. And like when she said, I'm requesting asylum, I went, yes, she's joining the good guys. And then I went,
Mm.
shit, when did Christian become the good guys?
Right.
But over these past three or four, where Christian is giving and right, hey, going to tell you in advance this is going to happen. So you got to be ready to do this. And there I just love this storyline and I love the scene of her like she was willing to accept whatever punishment it had to be. But when she figured out that they murdered, and that's what it was, murder, they were an experiment to just to move this. And then she realizes, and they want war. They aren't wanting peace. They want a war. They're like, come on, let's do it. It's also another cliche that it is said that warriors are usually good warriors are the people that want peace most of all because they've
Mm-hmm.
seen the cost of war. I loved this scene. My heart broke for her when she goes, "Don't call me sergeant anymore. I'm no longer part of the military." I'm curious to see where her journey goes. It was just really the highlight of the episode for me on a really strong episode. But seeing Bobbie's journey and where she's going from. And I also felt sorry, once again, American violence. I was really
Mm.
happy when she beat the shit out of that smug captain.
Right, dude.
Good for you. He's just a jerk. He's
Mhm.
been a
He's
jerk. And
malevolent. He's more than a jerk.
yeah,
He's
and he's just
evil.
and this whole idea of you break a few eggs to make an omelet. That Calavere is just horrible. Yeah, I was really curious to see where we go next.
Okay, Lou, let's bounce off that.
Yeah, I think Jesse's pretty well captured everything that was vital and entertaining from that portion of the episode. I'll just emphasize the fact that the story that Martin's told her w was probably the worst thing he could have told her.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because she knew the truth, and because
Yeah.
of that, I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back for her.
Yeah.
That was that story said she, you know what, I don't owe you anything. All that everything that Jesse said about what his true intents were, she found out through his, I don't know what they call them, smartphones or PDAs, but those translucent little
Yeah.
tablets that seem to be like a multifunction device. But I don't know what the slang term for them is. They might just call it a phone. Who knows? And she makes a big decision. I don't know. There's also, I don't know why they showed that scene, but it might have just been like maybe she took it as a sign. But when that transport was almost down on Earth and then quickly took off again, that I don't know if she took that as a sign to say, you know what, or maybe it was a symbol of her leaving her former life behind. Yeah, that might be a bit reaching a bit, but they obviously put that scene in for a reason. So I don't know. That's what I'm gonna go with on that. But
Yeah, if you don't mind me interrupting, I do think you could definitely say this as it's a symbol of you've gotten a second chance.
yeah,
Hmm.
exactly.
It's never too late to change your mind.
Yeah,
And yeah, this catalyst then go, wait a minute. And I think a reminder of do I am I passive or am I aggressive? Am I going to just let this happen to me or am I going to take my own fate in my hand?
because
Yeah, I think it was really cool.
yeah. So she's gonna do what she believes is the right thing, no matter what the personal cost. So from that perspective, I feel that her and Holden are probably the most similar in character. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but
I could see that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I liked her decision, and I just love it when she's got scenes with Christian because they're such two totally opposite characters, and those always make for the best scenes, the salt and pepper dynamic, and it'll be interesting to see where her story goes in the future.
Yeah. One of the things that strikes me is, oh, first of all, I didn't see her requesting asylum coming. I just knew that she was doing this in order to take Christian up on her offer. And I assumed, and I may have made an ass out of you and me, but that was a ploy that Christian used to keep her on Earth longer. I don't know. Maybe that was just a coincidence, but they said that the UN said that there was a threat. And I thought to myself that Christian wants more of an opportunity to talk to her. So she gives them this warning that there's a threat. At least that's me. I love seeing, and again, maybe I'm reading into it, but I love that Christian is collecting these young people because of, I think, because of the way she lost her son, because her son was fighting for this cause that she also believes in. And now she wants to help younger people to safely do something in that same cause. So she wants to help Cotillard. Essentially, she's using Cotillard also, but I do feel like she felt that kind of, you were friends with my son, so I kind of want to keep you in my back pocket kind of thing. And now Bobbie being a soldier that might be destined for danger. I'm guessing, again, Mars didn't have any compunction in sacrificing the team. So why would they keep her? Why would they not kill her once her usefulness is done? And I think Christian realizes that, right? So I love seeing this little bit of a storyline of her identifying with these younger people because of their mindset. because they have a similar mindset to what she believes her son had. Again, I'm reading into things. I really shouldn't. But one of the things that struck me about this is that she is so kind to Bobbie, and it's genuine. You can see how genuine it is. Are you okay with us doing a debriefing? Do you need anything? And very much sympathizing with the fact that she's no longer in the military. She gives her a look like, I'm so sorry this has happened to you. And that's a side we don't see of her that often. Her humanity as well. There's also a couple other things with her. She has a meeting with Aaron Wright, and she tells him, I haven't told them anything, which we know is true because she has said that to Kotiar, that she's not going to betray him because he's useful to her. I don't think she has any sympathy for him, but and then she knows that they're going to bring him up on charges because they can't get to Mal. And she does let him know, which I think is a kindness that he might not deserve. But she does get more information from him. And now she has pieces that are fitting together with the stuff that Bobbie has given her, the stuff that Aaron Wright has given her. And then, knowing what she knows, Mal contacts her to have this meeting like any kidnapper, come alone, or your family gets it or whatever. That's something that never turns out for the actual person demanding that. She's going to take Kotiar with her. Kotiar who spells out, because it doesn't look like a trap, it's definitely a trap, which I thought was funny. And then the fact that, oh, you're going to accept. And she said, I already did. And she's got her hand on her face, like, I can't believe I did this. So she knows that she might be in trouble. There's a lot of things happening there. And I love, Jesse, that you like Christian a lot more than you did before. And so now you're seeing some of that humanity behind her mask of impartialness. What did you think about the things that have happened between Christian and Bobbie, between Christian and Kotiar, and the ball that dropped at the end of the episode with her gonna go see Mal?
Yeah, I get the feeling she's two or three steps ahead of everyone else. I now think that I get the feeling, and I could be betrayed down the road, is she truly is not just what's best for Earth, ultimately Earth first, but also for the solar system, right? For
Mm,
everyone. I think she knows what the cost of the war will be on both sides, and she's trying to do this. I think it will always be Earth first for her, but I'm starting to just a little bit feel like she may be making bad decisions, but they're at the right place. Her heart is in the right place.
true.
I wish I would like more scenes between her and Katyor Asher.
Mm,
I want a buddy scene with them just
they're
there.
great.
Yeah. Also, my spinoff would be Bobbie and RDR setting up a troubleshooting agency
Sure,
together.
sure.
Like they're like,
Fixers being
yeah,
fixers.
they're fixers. It because I they haven't got to interact much yet, but I love both actors and both characters. And so it was just it's I will always love, and I'll go into this every few episodes. I will always love Babylon 5 because I think the scope of this coming from J. Michael Straczynski's mind and him basing this on a whole lot of other things, but a fairly original novel for television. But I can understand why, if you saw The Expanse first and then saw Babylon 5, oh, it's The Expanse Light. And that isn't a criticism. I think too many people like think of that in music when they hear 50s or 60s music and they'll go, that's nothing. But that's because they're they started music in the aughts and the that, and they they're not understanding the timeline. So yeah, I love the show, and I am just as intrigued by the politics of Earth as I am the politics in space. In fact, I I've always been a big fan of For All Mankind, the Apple series, and the first two seasons I recommend highly to anyone. It is as good a space drama as you can have. But this latest season, where they've got people on Mars and they're fighting with Earth and I'm beyond,
Mm,
Has the season
Expanse did
already
it
started?
better. Yeah, they just
mhm.
started the latest season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
Oh,
I go, it'd be curious if you've seen it and then go, Expanse did this better.
okay.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't realize it had started because I have watched all the other seasons, so
yeah,
good to know.
Yeah.
I'll add it to my to be watched queue.
yay.
Moving on to you, Lou. Before you do that, I said that Alex is one of my favorite characters. I think Kotiar falls into that for me as well. I feel like he's a side character, but I just love his wit. He has such dark humor, and that is right up my alley. I
He has
love
presence,
that.
that's for sure.
So
That's why
definitely.
you should watch the Spartacus
Asher,
Asher
Yeah.
yeah.
show because he's the main character in that. So
It's on my list now.
yeah. Yeah, I think Jesse's nailed it again with what
I've had a
Christian's
good game today.
yeah, Christian's outlook and purpose in the show is she's Earth is first for her, but I think she's thinking about humanity as a whole as well. And her her scene with Aaron Wright, I think that she the only I think the main reason that she's being civil to him is because she wants him to tell his story to the world. That's what she wants out of him. But as far as she's concerned, other than that, he's made his own bed and he's gonna have to lie in it. And
Yep.
that's how she's treating him.
He knows that though, right? Because he says, "Will you speak on my behalf?" And immediately he's like, "Yeah, I shouldn't have asked." I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah, yeah. He realizes it too. So that storyline is I think that's pretty well resolved now. In terms of how she's acting with Mao, I think it's interesting that she has decided that she has to go to him, which means that she's decided that she's done about as much as she can where she is right now on Earth. This is a big gambit for her to, anytime the leader has to go out of their walled, safe place out into the public or wherever to meet with somebody or accomplish a mission, that's a high risk move on their part, and it's always a gamble. And so she's taking a big gamble here, which Cotier, in his elegant, sarcastic way, is pointing out to her. I look forward to seeing her outside of her safe place. I think that will be interesting to see. And I think it will be interesting to see who she takes with her, as
Hmm.
Mao made it pretty clear that she would be allowed to have an escort, a small one. So we'll see exactly who comprises
Hmm.
that team. So
Cotillard, Bobbie.
So
Hmm.
TV wise, you would think, okay, Cotillard for sure, and Bobbie, because those are two of your stars. You would think it shouldn't be Bobbie this soon. That storyline, I don't know if that makes a lot of sense. They're going to have to explain a little bit. That's who I hope it is, because boy, you get Christian Cartier and Bobbie in a room together, I'm all in,
I'm on
you know?
board. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
think of
some red
this,
shirts.
the power dynamic right now is that Cotier and Christian are, like I said, they're in their safe place. They're on Earth.
Yeah.
They're Earther. They can handle the gravity. Bobbie's really exposed right now because she's
Yeah.
her career's gone. She's on Earth. She's not native Earther.
Yeah.
She's in a weak position. But if they're out in space, you would think that would flip a little bit.
Yeah, it would be a
Sure.
little bit. Yes. That would be, you could see her making the case like, look, I know I'm a Marine. I know how to handle space. I know to handle Mars gravity, Earth gravity. And my intel will be needed.
Yeah,
Let
and
me
they're
help make things better.
they're both ex-military, Bobbie
Yeah.
being recently ex, so they can also be bodyguards
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
Christian, right? And I really hope there's some red shirts there because
Yeah.
I think she needs protection.
Yeah.
Mao isn't really in the business of sharing information.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
And
So,
yeah, I've mentioned before, I love the show from the perspective how it brings polar opposite characters together. And
Yes.
I also love how it will flip the power dynamic on those characters
yeah.
Yes.
as well. So just
Yeah,
food for
she's
thought
definitely
for
going to be
future episodes.
vulnerable, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
This makes her vulnerable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Food for
And
thought for
so we
future
need,
episodes.
Yeah.
okay,
Good
cool.
deal.
And so we need people who will counteract that
Yep.
vulnerability. With that, I think that's pretty much it. Is there anything that I missed, you guys?
Just we didn't miss it, but I don't think we emphasize it quite enough. But the hook for the or the final shot of the scene. So the episode is Holden and Alex looking out through the torn hole and seeing the whatever it is out there.
Right.
Project
The,
Caliban, you could say. Um,
sure, the
which
living being without a suit on it.
Caliban, yeah, Caliban is an interesting name because it's pulled from Greek mythology. It's a half, Caliban was a half mo human, half monster. He was the daughter of the sea witch, and he wanted to populate his island with copies of himself. So I just think that it always amazes me when writers pull from existing works of other people. It lends that air of authenticity or
Sure.
whatnot. And space obviously is full of references to Greek, Roman mythos. So it's an interesting name that they've chosen for Caliban.
That's cool. Oh, yeah. From The Tempest as well.
Yeah, Shakespeare referenced it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Prospero. Yeah, very cool. I think that this show in particular loves to give you hints without coming out and saying it because we
yep,
had those tilting at windmills references in the first season, and now we've had arrows, and even though those exist in real life, they're using them in a way that telegraphs something to us, even if it's just in the back of our minds.
yep,
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for bringing that up. How about
yep.
you, Jesse? Anything?
No, very sad that we're going to be skipping 2 week recording for good reasons from my perspective. I am in a Springsteen sandwich. I am seeing Bruce in Austin next Sunday night, and then I will see him in Atlanta the following Saturday and Sunday. Karen and I are meeting with her wonderful husband for breakfast and look for some kind of mini episode where we may give Sean the camera and go when Karen meets Jesse and do a
Yeah,
quick video.
that sounds
Yes.
great.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to
So
do
I'm the
that.
pickle on the side of the
Yeah.
sandwich. Is that what I am? Or the
Yeah. Well,
coleslaw?
what is funny is May 1st is the day I start radiation. So
Mm,
Oh,
it is,
boy.
yeah, I truly am having that's cheering me up.
Oh,
Our dinner last night, my friends were like, Jesse, you're flying to Atlanta the day after your first radiation treatment? Sorry, that's just the way it worked out. I'm not missing it out.
yeah.
sure.
The good thing there's a time lag on the treatment
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and then before you
yeah.
start to feel it.
Yeah, that's before you build up.
Mhm.
Oh, one thing I meant to mention now that I'm saying build up, I got the feeling that there's some references in there, like with Vicini with the iocane powder, where he said, if I put it in front of you, then it has to be the one in front of me. But then if it's the one in front of me, then it's the one in front of you. I think that
That's a Princess Bride reference, right?
Yeah.
Vicini, yeah. I think that we get that a little bit from Cotillard, right? Where he
Yeah,
is he is making that kind of inference. If we do it this way, it's reverse psychology and this is happening. And but I do think that he's much more effective than Vicini. Vicini had an ace in his pocket that he was immune to iocane powder. No, sorry, the other way around. Conceivable. I love Wallace Shawn, by the way.
Yes.
I'm getting off on a weird topic, but with that, I think we've discussed everything about this episode in depth and probably to death.
yeah.
But
Looking at the recording time, I would say so.
yeah,
Yes.
sorry about that, guys.
That's okay.
But this was packed full.
It
Yes, it
was.
was.
Um, with that, and yeah, we're gonna skip 2 weeks, but I'm still gonna watch the next episode. I'm not gonna wait on that.
And it probably has
Um,
the most on the nose title. It's The Monster and the Rocket.
oh
Or
boy,
Nice.
that's
yep,
interesting.
The Monster and the Rocket.
All
Yeah,
right.
I see that.
Ratings.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it, I love this one, a 9 tablets.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to give this one 9 out of 10, beating the crap out of the snarly commanding officer.
Awesome.
Snarky commanding
Out of
officer. Yeah.
Martin's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Lou.
Uh, I've got two, so I'll split the score between them, and you can add up the total. I'll give it 4.5 pizzas plus 4.5 grenades.
Okay, so
Nice.
that's 9.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
assumed someone was going to take the holy hand grenade there. And by the way, that is a Monty Python reference for those
Yes.
that don't know. Yeah, I think our average is probably a 9. Does that sound right to you
We're
guys?
running between. It's always
Yeah.
between 8 and 9, so
Yeah,
Yeah. We
eight and a
are. Yeah.
that's
half. I
Pretty.
think we're at 8.5.
Yeah.
yeah,
Consistency. I
average
think so too.
wise. Yeah, which is showing how strong this show
And
is.
at the
I just
risk of
love it.
setting unexpected or unrealistic expectations, I think we're going to be season 3 and 4. We'll be doing a lot of nines and
Oh,
nine and a halves.
nice.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
That's
Maybe
good.
10 here and there.
could be.
Awesome. I can't
Good.
wait. The show really is hitting on all cylinders for me.
Yep.
So with that,
There's no Game of Thrones season 8
oh, good,
in the future.
good. No miscellaneous coffee cups sitting out,
No,
Starbucks cups sitting out.
no.
With that, I'm gonna ask you guys where people can find you. I'll put in here first that you can email us at jklmediareviews@gmail.com. So where can they find you, Lou?
Well, they can usually find me sitting in front of my computer, but
Right.
that might be a little hard for them to reach. They can try YouTube and our flagship station, the JKLAL Media Reviews station, and this is where we're doing The Expanse, waiting for the return of Pluribus and Severance. And we might pick up the odd thing here and there. We tend to do one shots of things that have grabbed our interest. There's a whole list of them. I always like to give a shout out to Station 11 because I know that's a show that's definitely probably gone under a lot of people's radar, and I highly recommend they check out that limited series. And I also recommend that they read the book. I think the book is fantastic too. My own personal channel, I've got my writers' interviews as well as my Stephen King podcast. And on Twitter and X, you can find me at Lou W. Sytsma, Sytsma.
And you can also find our Babylon 5
Oh, yes,
episodes
and our
there
archived
on
Babylon
Lou's
5s are
reviews.
on my channel as well, including the animated movie.
Yep. Okay, Jesse, your turn.
Yeah, I am at Jesse Jackson DFW on X, Twitter, other social media. Coming up this week, that it'll be published a little bit later, but I'm excited. I'm interviewing a gentleman named Ernest Lineberger. He actually ran for Congress last election here in Dallas for my district and lost to the youngest member of Congress currently, Brandon Gill, who is all MAGA all the time. And so I'm meeting with him to talk about his journey into why he decided to try politics and what was concerning about him in today's society. We'll also have some fun. It won't be a totally dry episode, but I'm really looking forward to talking to him.
And what banner are you flying this episode under?
Yeah, it'll be under set listing, Bruce.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
it'll be. We'll throw in some musical references.
I off the top of my head, you could say, "Sir, you were born to run." But
Yes, indeed. Exactly.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, and thank you guys for listening. This is always a lot of fun. And
Well,
as
can I
you
give
can,
my information?
I was going to say,
Oh,
please
I'm
go to
sorry.
iTunes, rate and review us,
Oh, there you go.
because we need a little love.
Sorry about that.
That's
I didn't
okay.
mean to step on you. I am at Oliveria on social media. I just logged back into Twitter to make a post. And that's on all social media platforms where you can find me. I'm at Oliveria. And my blog is alliestuff.com. And if you're one of the people that keeps trying to log into my website, cut it out. That's all I have to say there. All right. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye to our listeners and And goodbye, unfortunately, to my co-hosts, although we'll probably wrap things up behind the scenes.
It's going to be a
And
while. It's going to be
Yeah.
2 weeks.
we're
But
gonna
you two
miss
will see
each
each other
other.
in 2 weeks, so that's awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait. And I told Lou before that he needs to come down here too. I'm
Yeah,
just putting a
sorry.
pin in that.
Your country is a no-fly zone.
I know. Maybe I'll go up there.
We don't have to,
Sadly.
you'd have to come up to Canada or we'd have to meet in neutral territory.
The neutral zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I'll take a cruise up to Alaska. I think you could get into Alaska, right?
That's still part of the no-fly zone.
Yeah, I guess.
Just go
Okay,
to
so
Vancouver. It's
there
beautiful
you
there.
go. I don't mind visiting
Yep.
Canada. I loved Canada. It's my husband that has an issue with
Mm.
it, and it's snow. It has
Well,
nothing to do with Canada in itself. So he just has a thing about
but
snow.
we have good snow.
Yeah, it's a dry
You have
snow,
to see the
right?
Rocky Mountains
Yeah.
up here.
All right.
So,
Lake
and a
Louise.
reminder, April 29th coming up, which is 10 days from now, Karen joins me on
Mm,
Perfectly Good Podcast to talk about John Hyatt's song Same Old Man. And 2 weeks later, Lou Sisma joins me at May 13th to talk Stolen Moments. They are both going to be on Perfectly Good Podcast. So I'm
yay.
really
So we
excited
will
about
talk to each
mixing that.
other,
Yes, it will.
just not all three of us at the same time.
Yep.
Exactly.
And with all that mess at the end of the episode, I'm going to say goodbye to our listeners and we'll see you next time.
Yep. See you
Bye.
in a couple of
Bye,
weeks.
bye
Bye-bye.
Yes, he's
everyone.
waving, just so people know.
And scene.
The proceeding has been a JKL Media production.